everybody. Welcome to Gamecock Central Radio Basketball Report today with Gamecock great Joe Rhett. I'm Emerson Phillips, and we had the 2017 NBA Draft last night, Joe. An historic night for Gamecock basketball as Gamecock great Sindarius Thornwell is taken with the 48th overall pick by the Milwaukee Bucks, a second-round selection. So Thornwell taken by the Bucks, but then his draft rights were immediately traded to the L.A. Clippers. So Thornwell is headed to L.A. And, Joe, a bit of a surprise, I think, for a lot of folks that PJ Dozier was not drafted last night. But we find out this morning that Dozier signed a free agent deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. So he's going to get a chance to make it in the NBA, and both Thornwell and Dozier are headed to L.A., Joe.
Oh, there's no doubt. Two of the guys that's been the face of the program the past couple of years, and Sindarius, the face of the program the past 4 years, and PJ Dozier the past two. Start with Sindarius. I'm just happy for this kid. Watching what he's been through the past 4 years since he's been here, came in, wanted to be a part of something special. He believed in Frank. He knew that Frank would give them opportunity to win, and then that's what happened. They put in a lot of work, and the fruits of his labor were shown last night being the 40th pick, the first player in 11 years since Ronaldo Bachman, which is it's a big gap, but it's just great to see that. And also PJ Dozier, man. My heart went out to him last night, but he still has an opportunity. He has a tough road. It's very difficult to make it, but it has some players that have gone the free agency route, and I guess him and his family and his agent must have sat down and figured out, which team, would give him the best opportunity. So he saw that the LA Lakers, would be a better team for him. His name is out there. This kid, from what I heard, had worked out from 12 to 15 different teams. So I'm not worried about him right now. Whether this work or not for PJ, I still think this kid could, somehow go overseas and being well compensated for his services overseas if this doesn't work out, meaning that he can go overseas and improve his game. And he's going to get paid. He will be a professional, and maybe his opportunity will come maybe this year, maybe in a couple of years. He'll have the opportunity to get paid and to improve his game over the next couple of years.
Yeah, Dozier signed to a free agent deal with the Lakers, so he's going to go to the Summer League and play for the Lakers. He'll have a chance to make the roster. And good news for Dozier is that NBA rosters will expand this year from 15 to 17 players, so that's going to open up opportunities for some second-round picks and some undrafted free agents to make it in the NBA. We'll talk more about Dozier in just a moment, Joe, but we got to start with Sindarius Thornwell, coming off a historic season for the Gamecocks. He wraps up his Gamecock career as the third all-time scorer in Gamecock history with 1,941 points, trailing only B.J. Mackey and Alex English in Gamecock's all-time scoring. 6'5", 212 pounds. SEC Player of the Year this past year, wingspan of about 6 feet, 10 inches. And, Joe, I found an interesting stat on Sindarius Thornwell. Per 40 minutes of action, Thornwell averaged 2.5 steals and 1.1 block shots, and he was one of just 5 players in NCAA basketball that averaged those numbers this past year. So, Joe, we know Thornwell is a defensive standout first and foremost. Very good in the low post. He was a man among boys in the tournament back in March. Was able to back down smaller defenders in the post. But his release just isn't that quick, Joe, and he doesn't have a lot of lift on his jumper. So put your scouting hat on for a moment, Joe, and talk about Thornwell, upside, and areas he'll need to improve as well. We know he's tough, he's competitive, he plays hard, and he's just a winner, Joe. He proved that over his career.
Of course. We started over the past 4 years, the maturation of his game. He was put in great situations through Frank, where Frank used his strength by catching in the post, catching in the pinch post, or catching the elbow where he can go one-on-one. So that tells, I know the kid a little bit, and the one thing I liked about him that he was coachable. So to that I say, on the NBA level, he knows what he needs to work on, and he's been working on that all summer. So I don't see no problem with him adjusting and improving on his release and being put in a situation where he can exploit his talents. And you talk about his wingspan, you talk about his toughness, and that he's a winner. And that's, the NBA has a lot of areas, a lot of guys can score in the NBA. A lot of these teams, Clippers don't really need another scorer like that. They need somebody that can be a versatile two-way player. And you can't find a better two-way player, I think, in this whole draft than Sindarius Thornwell. He's a guy that rebounds. He defends well. It's always a place, like I said, for a guy like that to come in and just, you're not going to stop many of these NBA players because they are so great, they're so good, they're so skilled. But what he does, he can come in and make it a little tougher. And some of these guys just don't choose to play defense because they're so great offensively. But Sindarius can get in there and prove that he's going to be a tough defender. He can have a long career in the NBA.
So the Clippers had no picks going into last night's draft, and they bought the rights to Thornwell from the Milwaukee Bucks, who took him number 48 overall. Joe, before we started the podcast, you mentioned that this is the first draft with the Clippers for Jerry West, a great NBA executive and former player in the association who was the longtime GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. He worked most recently with the Golden State Warriors, and the Clippers just signed him as a consultant last week. So if Jerry West had a hand in hand-picking Sindarius Thornwell, that speaks even higher, and that would be a real feather in his cap as well. The Clippers said that they wanted high IQ basketball players. They wanted guys that understand the game, and they went out and got Thornwell. Joe, they bought him from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, they got a good guy. I don't want to be too biased. We've watched this guy, and we definitely are rooting for him, but they got a good one. I think they have to replace some players. Paul Pierce retiring. He didn't play much, but he was a leader on that team. And I think J.J. Redick is still undecided on what he's going to do if he's unrestricted or restricted free agent this year. So there's a spot for him, I think. And if he can go in and continue to work hard, the kid, I'm not worried about his work ethic. He's going to do what he needs to do to make this roster. He's a good kid, of course, and they don't expect any problems out of him. But like I say, they got a great ownership out there. They got new ownership with Steve Ballmer out there. Of course, we mentioned Jerry West, who's always had his eye on talent. I'm quite sure he did a due diligence and watching Sindarius or catching some of his film and seeing that this guy can fit this team, fill some need. And in all these NBA teams, they have, of course, a lot of them already have scores, but they have other needs where somebody come in and play defense, rebound, and also be a leader. And they saw his winning mentality, and they want guys that have that winning mentality, and Sindarius going to give it every night.
Joe, there's no guaranteed money for NBA second-round draft picks. Is there any concern at all that Thornwell's going to make this Clippers team? I don't know their roster top to bottom.
I wouldn't say it's a lot. It's always questions, always different variables that go on throughout the whole summer. It's going to be different trades. They've got J.J. Redick, who's still questionable about his future with the Clippers, and you just don't know. You just don't know. But, if it goes by just hard work and him getting in there and doing what he needs to do to help this team, if it's going by talent, I think he shouldn't have a problem. But like I said, so many different variables with all these trades. It's been a crazy offseason so far. I mean, the finals was only a couple of weeks ago, a little over a week ago, and there's so many things that's going on. It is making just the NBA so exciting because, we're not too many sports that you talk about after that last game. And with that, of course, we talk NFL, we talk college football year round, but I just like that there's such a buzz about the NBA after that last game was between Cleveland and Golden State.
So Thornwell becomes the first Gamecock drafted in 11 years. You got to go all the way back to 2006, where Ronaldo Balkman taken with the 20th overall pick by the New York Knicks. Balkman played in 221 games over 6 years. Thornwell now the newest member of the Los Angeles Clippers. So, Joe, that brings us to PJ Dozier, who was not drafted last night. And, immediately I think the fan reaction is that, well, PJ should have stayed another year in college. He could have improved his draft stock. Maybe he would have gone in the first or second round if he had come back to South Carolina and had a good year. Next year, maybe he would have been taken higher. Maybe he would have gotten guaranteed money. Maybe he would have been more attractive to pro scouts. But the bottom line is he made the decision to leave. He wants to get paid to play basketball, and I can certainly appreciate that, Joe. I think everybody's an expert today after the draft. PJ thought he would get drafted, but he did not. But he does sign his free agent deal with the Lakers. So he'll play summer league ball this year, and he's going to get a chance to make the Lakers roster. We talked about the fact that the NBA is expanding rosters by 2 slots per team. So that creates 60 new openings on NBA rosters for second-round picks and for undrafted free agents like P.J. Dozier. And he's going to get a chance to make the squad, Joe. If he can't make the team, he'll likely end up playing overseas. But either way, he's going to end up making good money playing basketball next year, and that's what he wanted.
Absolutely. And I've heard the buzz about that ever since he made the announcement and that he was going to the NBA. Then shortly after less than a week, he signed with the agent. So you knew that he was that he was gone. And to hear the buzz from some of the fans, that's this kid's decision. A lot of people are second-guessing him or questioning him. That was this kid's decision. I'm quite sure he had good advice from his agents or his feedback from his workouts. His uncle, Terry, that played in the league, his dad, who's been around basketball for the longest. He made a decision for him. And regardless of, I think the Gamecock fans should support this kid because this is his decision. He made the best decision for him and his family. And whether he make this team, is it a tough road? Yes. And was it probably a disappointment for him? You know, the thing is, he saw so many of his, this kid was a McDonald's All-American. And the past 2 years, he saw so many of his buddies that he done competed against over the past 2 years through AAU, through so many different entities in high school. And he saw a lot of his buddies go, like, hey, I was a McDonald's All-American too. So, hey, I need to put my name in the hat. I need to take this chance. But regardless if you make this legacy, it's going to be tough. I can't say it's going to be easy. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But luckily, he's out to a team that he can play. He's a kid that can play three different positions. He can play the 1, 2, and the 3.
Yep.
And that right there would give him an opportunity. A kid like 6'7", 6'8", that can play the point. And that's a lot of his gifts you can't coach. You can't teach. And I did with Magic Johnson, who was a big point guard himself. Of course, they drafted Lonzo Ball last night, who probably will be the face of this Los Angeles Lakers team for the next couple of years. But they do need backup. I think they let Swaggy P go. He's not coming back. They traded a couple other guys that they just drafted. So there may be a slot for him out there. But, again, this is this kid's decision. It's his family decision. And whether he makes his team or not, the kid will make some good money overseas. And he will be, his name is out there. He done worked out for 12 or 15 teams this year. So they know about this kid, and I promise you, they will keep their eye on him if he don't make this team, or if he go overseas, or he may just go to the G League, which used to be the D League. They changed the name to the G League. Maybe he can do that, and guys get hurt all the time in the NBA. And if he wants to go that route, if he wants to go overseas and make some money now, the NBA sees him. They will have their eyeballs on him, and there's opportunity for him to work on this game wherever he goes. So we wish both of these kids the best of luck.
Yeah, PJ handled not being drafted extremely well. I saw a video on him last night. He was very upbeat even though he didn't get drafted. He had a big draft watch party last night, about 100 people in attendance, and they were hoping to hear PJ's name called, but it never was called. And he spoke with the media afterward, and he was very positive, eyes focused on the future and just more focused on what his next opportunity would be, rather than dwell on the fact that he didn't get drafted. So, the next morning he finds out that he's got a free agent deal with the Lakers. So very exciting for him to get that opportunity. He'll have to earn a spot on the Lakers roster, but he'll get the chance to do that playing summer league ball this summer. Gamecock Central Radio, Emerson Phillips with Gamecock great Joe Rhett. You can download the Gamecock Central Radio app on the App Store and on Google Play to subscribe to our podcast. Search for Gamecock Central Radio on iTunes, SoundCloud, and other popular services, or just visit radio.GamecockCentral.com. Joe Dozier, 6'7", 200 pounds. He's got about a 7-foot wingspan. And I watched a draft preview video, a highlight video on PJ Dozier. It's on draftexpress.com. Fantastic video, Joe. And we watched PJ play all year, but I was reminded watching this video how good a defender Dozier is. Those long arms, playing the guard position. He was really a disruptive force, created a lot of turnovers that led to some easy Gamecock baskets in key situations. And he played better in the tournament, Joe, than he did during the season. A multi-position defender. Jumper needs some improvement. But, again, you see a lot of upside with P.J. Dozier, and he's still so young, Joe. He's only a couple of years removed from high school. He's got a lot of basketball in front of him.
Oh, yeah. See, we saw, like you said, we saw him the past 2 years, and see where he's grown defensively. You saw the first year, he didn't know how to move his feet too well. He relied on his quick, which he does have quick hand. He has really, really quick hand. But this first year, he struggled with that defensively, and through Frank and with some coaching and him learning how to play defense a little bit better on the college level. We saw that this year where you got a guy like that, 6'7", 6'8", with that wingspan. He disrupted a lot so much, and that's what helped this Gamecock team a lot this year because they got on and got easy baskets. At times when we were struggling in the half court, we came up, him and Sindarius coming up with so many big defensive plays that guy was getting out in the fast lane and getting easy baskets. And which that's stuff that you really can't teach them, once you get to that next level. And teams are looking for that, looking for defenders that can guard, especially for him. He can guard 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4 sometimes. If he get a little bulkier, because with his height and the way the NBA is going now, he'll probably be able to guard some of these 4-men. But again, this is going to be a tough road for him. But hey, he's a good kid. He's been raised by some good parents, Perry Dozier and Teresa Dozier. You can see that in him, like you said in the interview last night. He's a good, humble kid, and he knows he's got to work. And I believe, I'm not worried about his future. He's going to be okay, whether it's in the NBA. He's young, like you said, and he has a lot of basketball ahead of him, and there's a spot for him somewhere in the world.
Yeah, not the first time that Dozier has dealt with adversity, Joe. You remember he sat out a year of high school basketball dealing with the knee injury. And that was a real blow to him at that time, but he bounced back from that, became a McDonald's All-American, and ended up making the Final Four with the Gamecocks, and now he's ready to turn pro. So Dozier gets the free agent deal with the Lakers. Sindarius Thornwell is a Los Angeles Clipper. Joe, really fun for the Gamecocks to have players involved in the draft. Man, it's been 11 long years since a Gamecock got drafted, and just speaks to the success of Frank Martin, the run his team made this past year, and with the direction he's got the program heading in right now, you get the feeling that it won't be 11 more years before the Gamecocks have another player drafted.
Oh, no doubt. Not the way that Frank is recruiting and the way he's developing players. I truly believe Chris Silver, who will be a junior next year, and seeing the improvement that he's made over the past 2 years, he will have a shot. Maybe not this year, but maybe his senior year. I think he will have a shot, and it won't be an 11-year drop. And I hope that a lot of kids around the country can see that, hey, we got a good program down in South Carolina. We got two guys that hopefully will be in the NBA, and that's what Frank needs. I mean, to utilize that, ride this little wave that we had. We got a notoriety on the Final Four, and now you got two guys that possibly in the NBA. Hopefully we can get some more top recruits down here in Columbia, South Carolina, and get some wins. And that's how you win. I mean, you can coach them all you want. You can improve these guys all you want. But we had two possible NBA players on this roster now. I truly believe that that's what along with Frank coaching his ability, allowed us to make that run, because we had two pros, and if you got two guys like that, you can go a long way in the NCAA tournament.
So the Clippers and the Lakers picked up some more fans here in the state of South Carolina by adding Thornwell and Dozier. Awful lot of fun, Joe, and we're going to have fun following these two throughout their professional careers. Gamecock fans very grateful for their contribution to Gamecock basketball. Everybody's happy for both of them.
No doubt. I'm tremendously happy for them. And again, tough for PJ last night, but he'll be okay. And it's great for the program to see those two guys and see Sindarius go out to the Los Angeles Clippers with the 48 pick. He'll be joining another South Carolina native, and Bryce Johnson, who sat out this year because of injuries, who was from Orangeburg, Edisto area, that played for University of North Carolina. So those guys are buddies too. So that'll be great for Sindarius to get out there and, be out there with a guy that that can, teach you the ropes. And being out there in L.A., hey, that's a big city, and good old country boy like Sindarius, he's not used to that, but I think he'll be okay with the guidance of Bryce Johnson.
Yeah, we think he's going to fit right in on the floor. We'll find out. Good stuff, Joe. Thanks for your time today, my man.
No problem, man. Enjoy talking to you.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk more Gamecock basketball here on Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for being with us.